Here we have to add two fractions. In example A, both fractions have a denominator of 4. Therefore, we can add the numerators and the denominator will be 4. 1 plus 3. And that equals 4 over 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So in the simplest form, the answer is 1. Question B, we have 1/5 take away 4/5. Once again, we have the same denominator. Therefore, we can subtract the numerators. That equals 1 take away 4 is -3. So the answer is -3/5. For question C, the denominators are different for each fraction. First fraction has a denominator of 4 and second one has a denominator of 3. So what we have to do first is think of the lowest common multiple for 4 and 3, and then we will have to make each fraction to have the same denominator. For 4 and 3, the lowest common multiple is 12, and I can multiply 4 by 3 to get 12. But whatever I do in the denominator, I have to do in the numerator as well. So I will have -1 times 3 over 4 times 3 plus 3 I would have to multiply by 4 to get 12. So I will multiply both top and the bottom, or numerator and the denominator, by 4, and that equals -3 over 12 plus 8 over 12. Once we have the same denominator for both fractions, we can add or subtract the numerators and the denominator remains the same. -3 plus 8 is +5, so the answer is 5/12. Question D, again we have different denominators, so we have to think of the lowest common multiple for 7 and 3, and that is 21. So we would have to multiply the first fraction by 3 and the second one by 7. But we have to multiply both numerator and denominator in order for fraction not to change. Really, we are just finding an equivalent fraction. We're not changing it. So we'll have 4 times 3 over 7 times 3. Take away -4 times 7 over 3 times 7. And that equals, we have 12 over 21. Take away -4 times 7, -28 over 21. Once we have the same denominator for both fractions, we can subtract the fractions. So now we have 12 take away -28, and the denominator remains 21. And that equals 12. Minus and minus, we have a plus now. That's 28 over 21, and that equals 40 over 21. Now we're asked to express our answer in lowest terms. So how many full times does 21 fit into 40? It goes in once, and then there's leftover, and that's 19. If I subtract 40, take away 21 once. So we have 19 over 21. So 1 and 19 over 21. For question E, we have to multiply two fractions. When we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators, 5 times 3, and we multiply the denominators, 6 times 10. That equals 15 over 60. We are asked to express our answer in lowest terms. So we're going to look at, is there a common factor for 15 and 60? Well, 15 divides by itself, and 60 divides by 15 as well. So we can divide both numerator and denominator by 15 and simplify our answer. 15 divided by 15 is 1, and 60 divided by 15 is 4. So when we multiply these two fractions, our final answer is 1/4, which is answer in lowest terms. 15/60 is also correct, but it's not in lowest terms. So for question E, we have two fractions multiplied. So again, we will multiply the numerators and we will multiply the denominators. That equals 9 times 3 is 27, and 11 times 20 is 220. Now you would have to check whether they have a common factor, and once you are sure there isn't a common factor, then you know that this is the answer in lowest terms. Here we have to divide two fractions, and when we divide two fractions, we actually try to turn it into multiplication. The way we do it in math is we flip the second fraction, or the one that you divide by. In other words, you write it as a reciprocal. So if I want to write it as multiplication, instead of 3/4, I can multiply by 4/3. So I can either divide by 3/4 or multiply by 4/3. That equals, once we have multiplication, we just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators, and that's 28 over 24. Now both numerator and denominator divide by 4, so I can write it in lower terms if I divide both by their common factor. And that equals 28 divided by 4 is 7, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. Now we have an improper fraction that we can turn into a mixed number. So how many times 6 fully fits into 7, and what is left over? Well, that's 1 and 1/6. So 7/6 is the same as 1 and 1/6. For question H, again, we have division, so we will try to turn it into multiplication, but in order to do that, we have to flip the second fraction, or in math terms, you have to write it as a reciprocal. So we have 10/3. Once we have multiplication, we know what to do. We multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. That equals 50 over 18. Now both numerator and denominator divides by 2, so we can write it in lower terms. And 18 divided by 2, and that equals 25 over 9. Now we have an improper fraction that we can write as a mixed number. 9 fits fully into 25 twice, and that's 18. 2 times 9 is 18. So now we have, if we subtract 18 from 25, we have 7/9 left over. So the final answer is 2 and 7/9. Here we have an example where it says that one of the clips is 150 seconds long. So 150 seconds we have to express in minutes. One way to do it is to think that, okay, there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, so I'm going to figure out how many times 60 fits into 150. Or in other words, I have a fraction here. I have 150 seconds out of 60 seconds. So how many times 60 fits into 150 fully? And that's twice. And 2 times 60 is 120. So what is left over? We have 30 seconds left over. And 30 seconds out of 60 seconds is 1/2. Because 30 divided by 30 is 1, and 60 divided by 30 is 2. So 150 seconds is the same as 2 and 1/2 minutes.